rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. You got to get that little sing-song in there. That seems to be my thing. Speaking of songs, I understand, and although she's not in the chat yet, but I understand I owe, because I think she listens afterward, but I owe somebody a song for tonight. Yes, it is Outlaw Dog's birthday. So I hopefully you guys will keep me on the straight and narrow, and I don't duck out without doing it, because I've been known to do that a couple of times in the past, and it always makes me feel bad whenever I do. So keep me on the straight and narrow. I owe a birthday song at the end of the show to Outlaw Dogs. Hopefully she'll show up here. I also seem to, my memory is getting a little fuzzy the older that I get, somewhat. But somebody somewhere, I think, said that their birthday was tomorrow. So, does anybody in the chat know who that might have been? Who might have said that their birthday was tomorrow? Saturday? Anyway. All right. Well, guess what, folks? We finally did it. We hit 18. That's right. We finally got 18 on the pledge. I've got a new pledge debuting tonight. Okay. It's Coco's birthday tomorrow. All right. Well, keep me on the straight and narrow there, Whiskey Warrior P1s. I guess I'm going to sing twice. Once tonight, once tomorrow. All right, we have a new one. We hit 18, thank goodness, because, that odd number just sort of, bugs me. Anyway, you can also, please submit your pledges for sure, but I'll tell you about that here in just a minute. One thing that I think the Democrats and the left don't seem to understand is that there's this circle to life, okay? And, what goes around comes around. And I think they're starting to realize that there is a circular motion to the world. Anyway, yes, I did find that funny. Anyway, let's go ahead and get things kicked off now that Kat Pekarik is in the chat. That is our newest addition to the Pledge of Allegiance. So please, if you are of mine, please stand, remove your hats, place your hand over, remove your hats if you're wearing one like me. And thanks for that, Chevy. You threw me off the minute I saw that. Anyway, and place your hand over your hearts and follow along with Kat Pekarik as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This land is your land, America the beautiful. God bless America.
And, of course, I thank you for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. Kat, I do appreciate it. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself reciting or performing the pledge in your style, whatever that is. Hey, man, you just heard she added a little bit to the end, which was awesome. Go ahead and do that if you want, or do something different, Anyway, all you need to do is take that file, audio file, video file, whatever kind of file that it's created, and send it off to me, or share it to me. Send it off to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.com. .online. That's fans, FANS, at AmericanPerspective.online. And as you can see, it's not that difficult to do. It really isn't. And, I appreciate it. I'm going to look for number 20. We're on 18. I know 19 is in between, 18 and 20, but I like even numbers. So call it an OCD thing if you want. So I'm going to be looking for number 20. I want 19 first, but then I want 20 right on behind it. Give me 19, give me 20, give me 20, 19, 19, 19, 19, give me 20. Okay, come on. Do it for me. Send it in. Send it to fans at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will appreciate it. Absolutely. Okay. Tonight is Friday, so let's go ahead and kick off tonight's headline sponsor, which is theflagshirt.com. Now, I'm not wearing one of their shirts right now, unfortunately. It's a little warm to be wearing one of their shirts. I usually wear their cotton polos, their men's cotton polos shirts. I have one that this guy in the picture is looking quite dapper in right now on this on the theflagshirt.com site, but all you need to do is head off to theflagshirt.com, check out all of their styles. They have men's, women's, kids, made in the USA, Independence Day outfits. They have accessories that are decked out all in the fabulous red, white, and blue. And right now, theflagshirt.com is running their Labor Day sale, $20 off when you spend $100 or more. By putting in promo code 20, that's spelling it out, TWENTY, in the promo code box at checkout at theflagshirt.com to get $20 off your order when you spend $100+. Now, also, too, if you spend $75 or more, you will also get free shipping. So, realistically, you get free shipping plus the $20 off. Great, fantastic deal for their Labor Day sale. But I know not everybody can do that. I understand that. I get it. Not everybody wants to spend over $100 on patriotic gear. Sometimes you just want that one singular shirt or that one set of items. Maybe a hat, maybe a cap, maybe sunglasses, socks, a tie, something along those lines. And I get it. So I am going to help you out if that's all you want. It's just a small one. If you go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online, that's flagshirt.americanperspective.online, and you will be presented with a coupon code there. All you need to do is copy and paste that into the promo code box at checkout at theflagshirt.com. And you will receive $5 off your order. So go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online, get that promo code, copy and paste it into the promo code box at checkout at theflagshirt.com, and get $5 off your order. Head on over to theflagshirt.com and get yourself patriotized. All right. Bonnie, I see that. I'll check after the show. Okay, where am I? Where am I? I'm lost. Anyway, last night, you guys, we talked a little bit about this. Donald Trump went and met with D.C. law enforcement. There have been amazing numbers coming in from this ever since Trump did the D.C. takeover. And by that, I mean amazing numbers in the fact that crime across the board seems to be down. I mean, just about everything. Carjackings, muggings, murders. They haven't had a murder in a week, which is just absolutely phenomenal for that city. But he went out and he met with law enforcement and that kind of stuff. And so I told you last night I would get you some footage of it. It's nothing really spectacular other than, of course, Donald Trump being Donald Trump. But that's okay. We're going to go ahead and play that anyway. So here is Donald Trump meeting with D.C. law enforcement last night.
Enforcement and military personnel, and we can listen in here if he's talking. right where. Okay, hello. It's a healthy, attractive-looking group of people. Good. Well, I just want to thank everybody very much for being here. I wanted to do this. We've had some incredible results. The results have come out, and it's like a different place. It's like a different city. It's the capital. It's going to be the best in the world. We're going to do what you're doing with law enforcement, and very importantly, also, we're going to physically do it. We're going back to Congress for some money, and we're going to redo a lot of the pavement, a lot of the medians, a lot of the graffiti's all coming off real fast. It's going to come down real fast. We're working with Clark Construction. They're one of the big ones. They're the biggest here by far, actually. And we're going to be not so much building, it's cleaning and fixing and redoing and putting brand new surfaces down on your roads and streets. And when people come in from the airport all the way to the Capitol or the White House or any place else they're going to say, boy, this place is spotless. So we're doing that. Most importantly, though, we're going to have a crowd of people that are going to be happy. You know, I've received more phone calls from people in the last 4 days than I ever have. I've been here now 4 years plus. And by the way, I think we had about the best 7 months they're saying that any president's had. We've done a lot of work. We've done a lot of good work, including the biggest tax cuts that you've ever had. I know you guys don't care about taxes, so you don't care about saving a little tax, but you saved a lot of tax, actually. But we've had a great period of time. But I've never received so many phone calls thanking me for what we've done in Washington, D.C., from people that haven't gone to a restaurant literally in 4 years. And they said, you know, what you've done it's unprecedented, because what they said it was just unsafe. We couldn't do it. We'd go out and you'd see the stories, you'd read the stories, you'd see all of the things that are happening. And they said, we couldn't stand it, sir. Now I take my wife and my kids to dinner. One of them said he's gone out 4 nights in a row, and he hadn't gone out for 4 years. So it's a great tribute to you. And when I look at you people, I understand why, because.
So, yeah, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but there he is. He's talking, of course, to the D.C. police and everything else. There's been plenty of conversation with regards to this entire situation. And I'm sorry, I gotta get this. So anyway, there have been plenty of information from all different places. Well, hello, Sean. Just wanted to say hi to Sean. Anyway, there have been a bunch of people, you know, that have basically been saying that the police union's been saying the numbers are better off. You know, obviously the mainstream media folks have been saying all kinds of things with regards to it. You know, most of it that they've been talking about is the fact that it looks like, you know, somebody was occupying the territory or whatever. But if that's what it takes, I'm telling you, people, we here in America have been brought up in a, shall we say, cloistered, protected environment. And the reason being is because we're not used to seeing, you know, police officers and military people actually on our streets, whereas other places in the world, they have to do that in order for things to be considered safe. And unfortunately, you know, this kind of came at a point in time where DC was just bad enough that they needed to do this. And, you know, for him to do this in DC, of course, is, you know, again, a lot of people don't seem to understand that DC, for the most part, is under Congress's control and the president's control. There are constitutional setups for that, and it's under all of that. So yeah. There you go. So anyway, it's sad that we have to do it. But it's happening, and it's working, and people are happy about that. Well, the ones that are smart about it are happy. The ones that, for whatever reason, seem to think that this is like a, insurrection, coup, takeover, totalitarian, whatever. No, you guys don't seem to get it. This is the case that it needed to happen. So, we'll just have to see what's going to happen here after, of course, because remember, under the 1973 Home Rule Act, a temporary federal takeover of the Metropolitan Police Department is authorized for emergency situations up to 30 days. After that time frame expires, however, Congress must step in and approve any extensions. So we'll have to see what happens after 30 days. But yeah. Now, that being said, those similar restrictions do not extend or exist for the D.C. National Guard troops. That's just for the federal takeover of the Metropolitan Police Department. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll have to see what kind of progress is going to be made over this time. So essentially what would happen after 30 days if Congress didn't approve the extension, the control of the Metropolitan Police Department would go back to the whoever, I think it's the mayor or whatever. And then who knows what would happen with the D.C. National Guard. Maybe they would stay, maybe they would go. It all would depend on that person or whoever is the person in charge of that. So anyway. Now, Washington officials, meaning the people in the city, they filed a lawsuit challenging the Trump administration's move to federalize the local police. Yeah, so that's the Washington, D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab wrote on an X post today, by illegally declaring a takeover of MPD, the administration is abusing its temporary limited authority under law. And he says this is the gravest threat to home rule D.C. has ever faced, and we are fighting to stop it. Frankly, whoever is the judge for that should just look at these guys and laugh them out of court and be like, yeah, nope, you're lucky that you're even here because Congress allowed you to be here. That's the thing that people don't understand. I mean, leftist morons, they don't read the Constitution. They don't understand what the Constitution says. The Constitution clearly states that Congress has control over the 10 square mile area that is known as D.C., the district. So, I mean, it's a little bit beyond that because of the 1973 Home Rule Act, but they don't get it. They just don't understand. The District of Columbia is federal property, not state property. There's the reason why it was put that way. It was because the states didn't want to have the federal government to be, to basically be within a certain state and have that state get special favors because of it. So they had to cede property to the federal government in order for the federal government to be set up. And that's the situation. But of course, leftists don't know or understand either history or any of the civics that is there for all of it. All right. Okay. So, kind of good news, or at least this is what I'm hearing. Don't know if this is actually gonna come totally through or not, but apparently the runaway Texas Democrats did get letters stating how much they owe for their quorum-busting stunt. That's right. They were served with letters, and it's a report on social media where this came from. But apparently Texas House of Representatives Democrat members that left, they are going to be levied fines of more than $9,000 to each person. So, and previous reports, of course, say that they can't pay with any of their campaign funds. So this is like a personal blow. They can't pay with campaign funds, PAC funds, none of that. They have to pay out of their own personal pocket. So the Quorum Report's Scott Braddock posted this report on social media. And so, yeah, here, let me just go ahead and show you. Here's the letter, or here's a image of the letter that went out. And as you can see, it said, it says, the House of Representatives ordered a call of the House on August 4th, 2025, and a quorum was not present on the initial registration. You did not appear in response to that call, and the Sergeant at Arms and officers appointed by her were directed to secure your attendance under a civil warrant of arrest if as necessary. And a civil warrant was actually issued as authorized by the rules. So the first call session adjourned sine die on August 15th, 2025, with a quorum still not present. House of Representatives renewed the call on August 15th, and as a quorum was not present on the initial registration for the second called session, you did not appear in response to that call. And the Sergeant at Arms and officers appointed by her were directed to secure your attendance under a civil warrant of arrest as necessary. And a civil warrant was actually issued as authorized by the rules. Well, a quorum was obtained on August 18th, 2025. It continues and says, accordingly, you were absent 14 calendar days for the purpose of impeding the action of the House. The Committee on House Administration has calculated your fines and pro rata share of the costs incurred in securing your attendance under Rule 5, Section 3, House of Rules procedure as follows. So they were fined $500 per calendar day. 500 times 14 comes out to $7,000. And each individual was broken down a pro rata share of $124,943.40. That comes down to $2,354.25 per person who decided to leave. Now, I think there's like 13 or 14 of these folks. So that grand total that they have to pay out of pocket is $9,354.25. Yeah. Anyway, so what goes around comes around. They made their mistake and they made their bed, and they're going to have to lie in it now. Personally, I would have rather had seen not only the fine, but I also would have loved to seen these people perp walked in cuffs. But anyway, like I said, we'll kind of see where this goes. Don't know if they're actually going to get it fully fined or not. But they do offer the opportunity here where they say that you can. So as required by this continues, as required by the Texas Constitution and House rules, you may request a due process hearing at which you may be present with counsel to provide any explanation as to why the full amount of fines and costs authorized by the rule should not be imposed. Alternatively, you may make a written submission to the committee in lieu of appearing personally. Any written submission should be received in my office not later than Monday, August 25th at 12 noon. That's this coming Monday. So, yeah. Anyway, says if you have any questions about this process, please do not hesitate to contact Charlie L. Green, who is the chairman of the Committee on House Administration. We'll see what happens. 3 Chevy, no. Jasmine Crockett is a U.S. representative, not a state representative. So that was just the state representatives that this was in in reference to. So, no, it wasn't Jasmine Crockett. But anyway, you know, it's kind of funny. We were talking about the redistricting, somebody was talking about the redistricting on the socials. I can't remember which one it was, but I basically put in and said, hey, here's a way to avoid any kind of problems with redistricting. 1, only use population as the only criteria for creating a congressional district. And 2, make a rule that you can only do either squares or rectangles as needed in order to create that district. And some moron, leftist moron, was like, well, how can you do squares and rectangles? Do you remember when I showed you those congressional maps in the center of the country? Several states in the center of the country had a vast crapload of congressional districts that were in the shape of squares and rectangles, that it was very rare for them to not be in that. It's kind of interesting that the center of the country, and granted, the center of the country, okay, honestly, the center of the country is, let's be honest, kind of square in a lot of our states. You know, they don't get really weird about how things go unless you're on the West Coast or the East Coast. And yeah, I mean, even Texas, for an example, has got some very square-ish areas. So, all of that being said, I mean, the thing about it is that, hey, just basically say, look, just follow the border line and then make your squares or rectangles as needed off of that. You can't do any of this crap where, like Illinois did, where it runs, you know, diagonally across the state. You can't do that. Yeah. So anyway, okay. They should only be counting population anyway. They shouldn't even care. They honestly, they really shouldn't even care in terms of how people vote, because this is representing everybody, regardless of which political party is there. That it should be just, hey, you represent, and again, equally break up the population of your state as close as you possibly can to an equal division to get, you know, however many representative locations or districts are there, and just kind of, yeah, just use the square or the rectangle as the basis for what you're doing it for. I mean, I know not everybody is going to be, you know, not everybody is going to be able to like fit a perfect square or whatever, or a perfect rectangle. You know, you do modifications and stuff like that. But what you really need is you just basically need to, you know, hey, if we have 100,000 people and we have 10, let's say 10, spitballing here, these are not actual numbers, they're just for illustration purposes only. But you have 100,000 people in the state. You have 10 congressional districts that you can do. That means 10,000 people per congressional district. So just grab 10,000 people, start off at maybe the, you know, northeast corner of the state, and just take, hey, this is where 10,000 people live, and then just start cutting it up that way. And, you know, cut it like a, I don't know, rectangular cake or a square cake or whatever you want to call it. It's just, and if you have to use a triangle, use a triangle. But who cares how they vote? Just like, hey, you know, Mr. or Mrs. Representative, you represent all the people who are in the northeast corner of our state. And there you go. That's it. You don't represent the northeast corner of the state plus, you know, crossing the river and following through the woods and over the bridge to grandma's house that's down here in the southwest corner of the state. Yeah, no. Anyway. Oh, have I been to Illinois? Yes, I have. I've been to Chicago. I've been to Waukegan. I've been to, what was it? It's not Nashville, but there's another N city up there that I've been to. Anyway, so yeah, I've been up there. Yeah, no, I mean, I know Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. I mean, I've been to many states. No, I won't say all of them, but many states. In fact, at one point, that was kind of something that I've thought about wanting to do, but then I visited Nebraska and went, you know what? This is this is crazy. That being said, we may end up doing that. There's a couple things, but yeah. Oh, I haven't been to the real part of Illinois. Oh, okay. Anyway, all right. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's talk. I gotta get a little bit of pain here. Let's talk about Rumble, of course. Now, I love Rumble. Rumble is the free speech alternative to YouTube. That's how they got started. That's how everything in America should be. Like I told this one person with regards to personal property, you shouldn't be touching into other people's personal property, regardless of how you feel about whatever that is. Like a Trump sign in somebody's yard should be left alone. That's it. Well, there's one way that you can help support not only the show, but you can also support Rumble itself. And you can get all of the wonderful content like this show that you see across the board. It's all, free speech platform and everything else. And so let me go ahead and just tell you, if you haven't already, make sure you download the Rumble app. It's free, simple to use, and the best way to stay connected to the content that you want, like this show. Once you've got it, search for my channel and hit follow. That's the easiest way for you to make sure that you get notifications every time that I go live. You won't miss a live stream. You won't miss, you'll see, you can grab any of the videos that you may have missed. But there you go. You can just, no miss shows, no extra steps. You can grab it right now using the link in the description or pinned in the live chat. Download it to your phone and you're ready to go. Watch me even on the go. You can go ahead and take off and do all that. And if you prefer watching on the big screen, don't forget that Rumble is available on all major streaming devices and smart TVs. All you have to do is search for Rumble, follow the channel, and be part of the action. You'll get me on your TV, in your living room in full 1080p. Not exactly sure you'd want to do that, but hey, not only will you get me, but you also get everybody else's Rumble. So do it for me, but make sure you use them on the TV, because I don't think you want to see my face for radio on the TV. But anyway. All right. So once again, grab your Rumble app. You can find it in the App Store and the Google Play Store. Go and find that app. So then and also don't forget to put it on your TV. So just search for Rumble and follow the channel and be part of the action. You've got to come over to Rumble. If you're on the audio portion of the program, I'm just going to tell you, if you're on the audio portion of the program and you haven't come to watch or be a part of the group that's over on Rumble right now, oh my gosh, you are missing so much interaction with a whole bunch of like-minded Whiskey Warrior P1s. So there you go. See, Bonnie puts me on the television. Anyway, to answer your question, Julie P80, that is it, Naperville. I was in Naperville at one point. All right. Well, you know how California's been, especially Gavin Newsom. I don't know if anybody's ever been seeing this stuff on. Gavin Newsom apparently hired some young punk person. I'm going to call him a punk person, but a young person, to hype up his social media. And he basically is running around and doing all of the memes and everything else that Donald Trump did throughout Trump's first term, as well as some of his starting in the second term. You know, the ones with Newsome with his shirt off, or Trump with his shirt off, where he looked like he was, Rocky and boxer and all of that stuff. Well, Gavin Newsom apparently can't get too creative because he's basically mimicking all of this. Now, everybody seems to think that he's doing it, because he's trolling Trump. I'm just laughing because, what leftists don't seem to understand is that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So apparently Newsome is very trying to flatter Trump. Not make him, not troll him and make him mad, but he's like trying to flatter him. Maybe he's trying to get into Trump's good graces. I don't know. Well, anyway, the California legislature went ahead and voted. They've passed now. They've said that, yeah, we're going to put that, put the whole redistricting thing on the ballot. So now it's going to be up to the voters. So you have the California Supreme Court passed it. Now the California legislature has passed it. It's probably going to get signed by Gavin Newsom in terms of the new law to be able to put it on the ballot or whatever. I don't know all of the ins and outs of California's reasons for why they end up doing stuff. But all of that said, Texas isn't done. So Texas has decided to sue California because of California's insane so-called green energy vehicle standards. Now, here's the thing. What a lot of people don't seem to understand, when you deal with manufacturing products, typically what you end up with, because manufacturers, they don't want to hold stock on all kinds of different products and variations of products, they usually want to narrow down to a certain number that is manageable in their inventory. And so when you have one singular state that decides to make its green energy vehicle standards, like for an example, the engines that shut off when you stop at a stoplight and start back up when you press down on the gas to drive away. That came from California. And when you have the vehicles that have to deal with any number of any other kind of environmental safety or environmental enforced features, many of the car distributors or car manufacturers will just make that car and then send it to everybody. Well, apparently, Ken Paxton, Attorney General of Texas, is now suing California over its plan to enforce new green energy car emission standards. The suit has been filed in conjunction with America First Legal, argues that California's attempts to set its own vehicle emission standards separately from federal law would result in material damage to other states like Texas and would effectively impose restrictions on the rest of the country. So President Trump canceled a waiver that California had received, allowing it to create its own standards, but the state apparently filed an appeal to that. And now the lawsuit comes as Texas, of course, is locked in this redistricting tete-a-tete back and forth with California. So, yeah. Anyway, Paxton charged California and said, I am standing with President Trump in his effort to stop Gavin Newsom in California for shoving its insane so-called green energy vehicle standards down the nation's throat. Texas will not look the other way while the failed state of California undermines our sovereignty, attacks America's energy independence, and intentionally adopts destructive policies that would harm other states. California's crusades is not about innovation. It's about abusing the legal system to flout federal law and impose its radical agenda on all Americans. Daniel Epstein, the vice president of America First Legal, asserted. He continued and said, America First Legal stands proudly with the state of Texas to defend competition, consumer choice, and the rule of law. We will not let Gavin Newsom remake America in California's image. So there you go. Texas contends that the California policy would not only undermine the sovereignty of Texas, but also inflict substantial economic harm on the state's residents and industries. So, yeah. According to the lawsuit that was filed, it says Texas's interests in this matter are significant and protectable under law. If reinstated, the waivers at the center of this suit would effectively allow California to dictate national vehicle emission standards, undermining the sovereignty of Texas and other states, the state of Texas argues in the lawsuit. Excuse me. So, yeah, there you go. So Texas has decided that they are going to attack California even more. So that's cool. That is really cool. You know, I don't think Newsom really really knew what he was getting into because, you know, even with the redistricting and stuff, even if he gets it past the voters, which, by the way, again, if you're in California, you're within the sound of my voice and you're in California, vote no, vote against the redistricting proposal. Because I guarantee you, once they get that, you know, that's one thing about Democrats. Once they get something put in place, even if it's only supposed to be temporary, as this is supposed to be temporary, they're going to get rid of it. They're going to get rid of it. Seriously. I mean, they're going to get rid of it. They're going to get rid of the option to have that independent commission making the district maps. And they're also going to you know, make it so that they can redistrict whenever they want. Trust me, you vote that in, and I guarantee you it's gonna become permanent, that they'll be able to redistrict whenever they want. So, yeah. Anyway, all right. So further on in our What Goes Around Comes Around file, apparently John Bolton got the FBI treatment, the FBI SWAT team treatment. So where this all stems from, okay, is essentially John Bolton wrote a book. And when he wrote the book during the first Trump term, he maybe inadvertently, he was, let's say, allegedly accused of putting classified information into this book. Now, this book, he was supposed to have them go and, you know, have the government go and, like, clean it out or do an editorial check before he sent it to the publisher for printing. And reportedly, that did not happen. All right. But there was a investigation that was started under the Trump administration to go and take a look at this. And to take a look at whether John Bolton had actually violated federal law, dealing with classified material, so on and so forth. I mean, we've heard it all. With you know, Joe Biden being a senator, having classified material in his garage next to his Corvette illegally, or over at the UPenn Center for the Biden Center for the UPenn or whatever. Anyway, so when the Biden administration came into office, even though a grand jury was actually convened for this, everything just stopped. It was just completely dropped. The investigation was, you know, forgotten about or whatever. Well, Kash Patel and the FBI picked it back up. And they went and they raided John Bolton's house and his office. Apparently, agents busted down Bolton's door, according to Nick Sorter on X. They busted down his door around 7 a.m. in the morning. So John Bolton, who, you know, hasn't necessarily been a friend to Trump, he hasn't really been a huge enemy. I mean, he's been sort of middle of the road, but he ran off to, by the way, he ran off shortly after him leaving office. He he basically ran off to the press and was like talking to them about the entire classified documents and everything else. So yeah, he raced over to a TV studio to criticize President Trump over the classified documents that he himself apparently did. And Bam, I do believe there are some pics. There are some video. You can find them on X. In fact, here, let me just. So this is one of them.
And ambassador. So this is a live shot of his office in Washington, D.C., and we're looking right now, per our colleagues from Fox Digital on the scene, a couple of FBI agents loading some stuff into cars and leaving the scene. So clearly not as big of a presence at his Bethesda home, but notable that he was spotted at his office earlier today. We're told, I want to be very clear, that he's not facing any charges at this moment. He is not in custody. He is not under arrest at the.
So there you go. There are some other there's other video and stuff like that. But anyway, so again, this investigation, just so you know, it's not new. You know, it stretches all the way back to the first Trump term. And again, there was already a grand jury convened over this. So kind of makes you wonder why it was shut down under the Biden administration. But yeah, anyway. So there are some people who are critical of this kind of thing. There are some people that are critical of it, and they're saying, you know, oh, this is just tete-a-tete, tit for tat kind of thing. But I don't know. Considering that the investigation was already in play under Trump 1, I honestly think that maybe it does have some merit on its face. But the reality of it is this. The Biden administration and the Democrats, who basically threw the gloves off, that when they raided Mar-a-Lago, when they went after Roger Stone, when they went after, General Flynn, when they went after all of these people, they didn't understand the Pandora's box that they were opening. You know, there's this wonderful thing called the Golden Rule, and it basically says, do unto others as you'd have done to you. And I have lived by the rule where just because you can doesn't mean you should. So, yeah. I mean, these people are starting to realize that, hey, what goes around comes around. Karma does exist. You can pick up any kind of mention or whatever kind of trope that you want to use with this entire situation. But the point of it all is that Democrats, you guys opened up the effing door, all right? Just like with the gerrymandering, you opened up the effing door. Just because it's taken the Republicans, decades to finally get to a point where they're like, well, yeah, maybe we should do that. It's coming back around to you. You've been playing the political system, you've been playing the legal system, you've been playing all kinds of stuff, and especially in the last 10 years, 10 to 12 years or whatever. It's time. It's time for these things to start coming around. And do I believe that this is like a really, a good thing? No. I don't necessarily think it's a good thing. But I do think that you can't just sit there and say, hey, I'm going to break break decorum. I'm going to break all of this, and you can't do a damn thing about it. Yeah, that ain't right. I mean, if you want to go low, a lot of people say, hey, when they go low, you go high. Well, no offense, but the Republicans and the conservatives have always consistently gone high. And what does it govern us? We've given these Democrats, we've given these moron leftists an inch. And they've taken a mile. And so, yeah, it's just, this is the, yeah, I'm going to wait and see what happens, because let's be honest. I mean, the the Republicans who do these kinds of things, even though they seem to have grown a set of cojones for this, I don't know if they're going to be able to follow all the way through with it and actually get to some perp walks. I honestly think they'll probably drop a lot of this stuff, but it's mainly just showing, hey, we're going to be able to do this. You know, you guys did it, we'll do it. Anyway, I just noticed that my my closed captioning here above me. Whoops, wrong finger. It's above me. It actually spelled, so I must have pronounced it correctly. It actually spelled cojones. So, yeah, there you go. Pretty smart. Anyway, it's a pretty fart smeller. Anyway. All right. So I don't know if anybody saw this, but there is a declassified bombshell FBI memo that actually undercut Comey's testimony to Congress and opens the door to a new probe. This in Just the News. Prosecutors have secured evidence that Comey actually authorized classified leaks, but declined charges, meaning that he declined to bring criminal charges to people leaking classified information. So anyway, this is bombshell revelations that involve ex-FBI General Counsel James Baker and ex-Comey Chief of Staff James Rabicki. And they were memorialized in documents that Kash Patel discovered earlier this year, but the passages were originally redacted by the Justice Department in versions sent to Congress earlier this month. So Attorney General Pam Bondi intervened and eliminated the redactions, dispatching new versions of the memo this week to the House and Senate Judiciary Committees, according to officials that told Just the News. The memo apparently details evidence and interviews gathered by the U.S. Postal Inspection Service agents concerning classified information leaked to the New York Times in October of 2016, ahead of the November election in which Republican Donald Trump defeated Hillary Clinton. And so, yeah. The more we start digging, the deeper this goes. Anyway, Pam Bondi told Just the News on Thursday she was committed to bringing accountability for the yet unpublished leaks. Said this document produced at my direction confirms what many Americans have long suspected. The former FBI Director James Comey and his Chief of Staff engaged in abhorrent conduct. There must be accountability for those who were entrusted with safeguarding our nation's secrets and failed to do so. Comey previously denied during congressional testimony that he had ever been a source in news articles related to an FBI investigation into Trump and Clinton, and further denied that he had ever approved of anyone else at the FBI being such a source. He's long denied any wrongdoing and insisted that he has been politically attacked because he stood up to Trump. Yeah. So, again, we'll see what happens with this. I mean, let's be honest. I don't know if it's really going to go anywhere. All right. Well, I do want to tell you, last little bit of something before the end. That excuse me. Ooh. Choking on my own drink. Yeah, that's not good. Anyway, I do want to tell you that eventually leftists will always show you their true colors. You know, my dad used to tell me all the time, actions speak louder than words. And I guarantee you this is 100% sure and proof in the leftists' hands. Leftists, I'm telling you right now, leftists are racist. Okay? They are racist. They just try and hide it. And regardless of what anybody believes, okay, regardless of what anybody believes, these leftists, these Democrats, have never given up their racist ways. Okay? You think I'm making this up? So there was a I don't know if it was a rally, a press conference, whatever, but Winsome Sears, who is running for governor, I think in North Carolina, she was at a press conference, a presser. She's been talking about it. She talks about, in particular, she talks a lot about transgenders in bathrooms and things like that. Well, there's this woman who is a self-described white liberal. And here's the sign that she is holding. It says, "Hey, Winsome, if trans can't share your bathroom, then blacks can't share my water fountain." Folks, Winsome Sears is black. Now, I'm just going to tell you right now, these are, oh, I'm sorry, it is Virginia. It's Virginia. My bad. Not Winsome Sears is in Virginia. See, I told you, my Whiskey Warrior P1s, they keep me in line. But anyway, can you imagine holding this up in front of a group of black people? I mean, granted, what I'm seeing here for the majority of the people in the audience that's in this picture, they are essentially white for the most part. I mean, I don't even think I see anybody. I don't know. I don't see anybody here that is a person of color. No, I take that back. There is one person in the very background, far in the background. But could you imagine, as 3 Chevy points out, could you imagine if a person in like a MAGA hat or something like that held up this I mean, yeah. This is just a mess. I mean, I can't even imagine where the hell were your thought processes when you created this sign? Because, you know, for those of you in the audio portion of the program, it's basically a rainbow colored sign. I mean, it starts red, goes to green, then goes to purple, then black, then blue. And yeah, I just and you sit there, and the same leftist probably would condemn the Confederate battle flag, you know, known as the Stars and Bars. But the Confederate battle flag, she probably condemns that as racist, and yet wouldn't even imagine that this is racist. I'm telling you, they will show you through their deeds. They will show you who they are. Guaranteed. All right, well, I know that Outlaw Dogs has not shown up, but I think she's going to watch this later, so let me go ahead and do this. Outlaw Dogs, her birthday is today, so I am going to go ahead and sing this. Let me clear my throat here, get it kind of ready, get the pipes warmed up a little bit. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Outlaw Dogs. Happy birthday to you. Hopefully, Outlaw Dogs, you're enjoying your time out and your family is spoiling you for sure. All right, folks, let's see. That is it for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free, and once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, tomorrow night is Saturday, so Saturday is 1 hour later. That's 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.